pragyam adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam apyapadeshyam ekatma pratyayasaram prapancha upashamam shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigyeyah. Let's chant maybe 3 of the karikas, number 10, 11 and 12. Nivrittehi sarva dukkhanam Ishanah prabhuravyayah Advaita sarva bhavanam Devasturyo vibhusmritaha Karyakarana baddhautau Ishyete vishwataijasau Pragyah karana baddhastu Dvautau turyena siddhyataha Natmanam na paramschaiva na satyam napi namritam na satyam napi chandritam pragyah kimchana samvetti turyam tat sarvadrik sada. So we were doing verse number 10 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you have a chance to review the lesson from 2 weeks ago. It's always a very good habit. I would urge you to do so. And in fact, let me kind of ask a question from you to see if you recall some of the key aspects of it. So, nivrittehi sarva dukkhanam ishanaha prabhuhu avyayaha. This was the context. This was the main thing that Gaudapadacharya ji is trying to convey. So here there is a word ishanaha, which is similar to ishvaraha. Ish is the dhatu for it. So now let me ask you a question. Who can tell me what was the main unfoldment of the concept of ishanaha? Let me just sort of, anybody?
Overlordship.
Overlordship, that's the technical meaning of the word ishanaha. But what does it mean? Do you remember any of the concepts?
So you meant it's like naturally overlordship, so it's a samarthya, which means like...
Yes, that is the right one. That is the right. So this is a very important thing that we must really understand in terms of the nature of the whole creation, nature of our lives, and so on. Samarthyam. This is the key word. Samarthyam means, so the overlordship means the ability to control can be looked at from 2 standpoints. One standpoint is by the title, by power, by the control. Like, the businesses, for example, need to have a boss in order to make things structured in a way, and it's good because if there is no, and so that's why there's a vice president, there's a director, there is a senior vice president, and all those kinds of things, so that there is some kind of a control over what needs to be done, some focus, and the ability of the person to function as an organization depends upon the title, his power, his or her power, and so on. So this is one. So this is one aspect of Ishanaha, Ishwarastvam. The other aspect of that is that it is Samarthyam. Samarthyam means to simply the fact that you have the ability to control. You don't have to do anything, but just the very nature of the lordship is very important. So there, for example, I remember talking about this in the context of business. Swami Maheshananji was talking about it. That, for instance, a successful business is, let's say, a small family-owned business. And even, I tell you, for when I joined Hewlett-Packard, even not just a small business, it was a huge corporation and so on and so forth. And I was telling you this example, that when I switched over from IBM to HP, I really had a very pleasant introduction to the way of conducting business, which is that the culture of the company was communicated to everyone. And there was no, you were supposed to just sort of do it on your own, which is ethicalness, which was very important. That's what really attracted me to HP. My kids used to say, I would think I was there for 25 years, and says, Dad, everybody else is changing companies, you can make more money, why don't you shift? I said, no, this is, I like it. What am I going to do with another 10 or 20%? This is wonderful. Yes, there were some politics and so on. Everybody all has it. You know, you play favorites and this, that, or the other. Overall, though, samarthyam. You have a culture that allows you not to have to boss people. Let people do it on their own. Here, the two examples given in the Vedantic literature for samarthyam. Samarthyam means, samartha means the ability. So, samartha means able. Samarthyam means ability. So two examples given here are the magnet attracting iron filings. This is one example. So here the magnet does not pull them by force, but pulls them by a natural force. So they all come to it and so on and so forth. So in fact, this is how it is done. In the entire gravitational area, the Earth and the satellites and all of those, they naturally flow. There's no one sitting there saying, okay, you got to do this, seasons, and how the rotational aspect of it, the whole is so beautiful. It is all from samarthyam. So the magnetism is one example given in Vedanta. The other example given is a light attracting bugs. So there, the light doesn't say, please come to me. In fact, they don't want the bugs to come and destroy themselves. If it's a naked, it's good that many of the bulbs, for example, they can maybe heat you up, but they won't burn you. So the bugs can sometimes you see them quickly touch the glass of the bulb and then run away because it's too much. But in the case of a naked flame, the bugs just get destroyed. And they come naturally. There's no, so this is a very beautiful thing to to see. So this is called the Ishanaha Samarthyam. So the question is, what does it mean in our life? This is a very important thing. Just if we could just unfold this one word and really understand aspect of it, a lot of things in our life become clear. So here, so now Prabhuhu Avyayaha. Prabhuhu means Prakarshena Bhuhu. Prakarshena Bhuhu means one which is Bhavati, one which is the very nature of being. It is not borrowed beingness, but the very nature of beingness, the very isness, the very presence. And Avyayaha. Avyayaha means, Vyayati means that it goes up and down, it changes, it can disappear, it can reappear, all because of certain causes. So if you are depending upon your body or your senses or your friendship, things can change, fluctuate. But the isness is natural to someone, then that person does not change. This is what we have to understand. Prabhuhu Avyayaha Isanaha. Prabhuhu, which is Avyayaha, and Isanaha. So what does it mean? It means that just like you have iron filings that are attracted to a powerful magnet, you and I are held together, naturally attracted to Ishana. And what form of Ishanaha? What is the Samarthyam? We saw this. I'm just revising it. Hopefully you remember it from 2 weeks ago. What is the Samarthyam? In the case of magnet, it was the ability to physically attract. In the case of light, it was also to physically attract. Here, the Samarthyam of Ishanaha Prabhuhu Avyayaha Vibhuhu Smritaha Turiyaha. All of that is referring to the same vastu, same person, not a person, not a personality, but the person is Anandaha. Ananda. So if you really just analyze your lives, your entire conduct of your life, all the actions, all of aspirations, all of next steps, all the progression is for Ananda. Ananda. And Ananda is the Samarthyam of Ishana. This is what we have to do. And so here, just imagine, there's no force involved. Even when a baby is born, it doesn't it starts to cry because it's uncomfortable. And so imagine this, look at the Viveka. Why should the baby cry? Let him be uncomfortable. No. Why? Because it is attracted to Ananda. You see, in here, there is a great deal of truth. In the way we look at our lives, there is so much truth. Even in the case of crime. For example, in this kid who has murdered 17 people, There is a quest for Ananda. Because somehow his life was all, I don't know the details, but it was all, really completely spoiled in some way or the other. His mother died, all kinds of things and so on. And his sense of insignificance, there is nothing in his life. He was probably rejected by a lot of people. He tried to make friends, he could not make friends. Whatever it was a quest for Ananda. So both in the case of bad actions and good actions, and all in between, all of our actions in a life, every one of them, your decisions on what to do today, where will you go, what classes you will attend, after that what will you do, eating, everything is for Ananda. And Ananda, which is not putting any force to you. You see, the baby doesn't even have to be taught. Nothing has to be, this is not the Ishanaha where there is a boss, that you better do this. It is very natural. I am attracted to Ishanaha. But I'm unaware of it. Unaware of it. And, another just imagery that comes to my mind is that it is this Ishanaha is Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha in the sense of being the golden. Hiranya means golden also. Hiranyagarbha of course has different more subtle meanings as we have studied, and we will do it again. But it is kind of like each one of us. So if I can equate Ananda with the luster of gold, so just imagine this imagery. I'm just introducing that. So we are all made up of pure gold, but with a crust on top of it. So imagine you have these some vessels, golden vessels, that because of whatever reason, that's a separate issue, it has a covering on it which doesn't show the gold. And so that's exactly how the human beings, all beings are. That we are pure gold, pure Ananda, but we are covered up with punya papa, with actions, with identification with wrong things, all those kinds of things. It's like a covering. And in this covering, you are given a few instances where you can discover the goldenness of the covering. Now, what are the instances? Deep sleep is one. In fact, we're going to study a little bit more about that. But the deep sleep here is where you are just pure gold. And the other one is eating. Annam. So whenever you have, this is what's called the alam buddhi that comes from eating. Sex is another. So in these aspect of some instances are given to you where the pure gold it can be seen, but because of the covering, which is due to ignorance, you get away from it, not realizing that you are the pure gold, not realizing that you're pure Ananda. But even while you're not realizing you're pure gold, even when you are acting as though you don't know your Ananda, you are attracted to Ananda. Your quest is always to go back to Ananda. In fact, we can say you are attracted to Ishvara. You may not realize it. A person may not be religious, may not be spiritual, and so on, but really speaking, we are attracted to Ishvara as Ananda. In fact, this is why we were saying that if you look at the etymological meaning of Rama and Krishna, that's exactly Ramante iti Rama, the one where you revel. Every time you are happy, you discover Rama in your heart. And what really attracts you is Ananda, Krishna. And so we always have these historical view of Rama, and we bow towards the dharma of Rama and the independence of Krishna as an outside. But really, if you look at how it translates into your own reality, you are attracted and you are reveling in Ananda. And this Ananda is not individual. This is the beauty of it. One should appreciate that. Advaitaha sarva bhavanam is the same thing. Ishvara, Ishanaha. It's as though it's a huge vessel, golden vessel, and we are all made up of that. We may actually become a separate ornament, but it is the same gold. Beautiful. Very important verse. All these verses are important, but the way to unfold it and to understand through the commentaries of the Acharyas, that's what really makes the difference. So just try to see this, that just think about it, that no matter who you are, what you are doing, what stage of life you are in, you are connected, attracted, controlled, directed towards Ishanaha, Prabhu Avyayaha. And if you're able to see this very clearly, Nivrittehe Sarva Dukkhana. Any kind of a problem, you'll be completely free of. And you're given samples of it at night time, and happiness and simple jokes, eating. But once you understand the real source of it, it is because of our confusion that we find that Ananda is outside. This is what we have to do. The Viveka has to be done. That really speaking, that my very nature is Ananda, which is not different from Ishvara. In fact, I am nothing but the very content of Ishvara. And so this is the exposition of because we are now unfolding Turiya. That's the main one. So, in fact, here also, Turyoho Vibhuhu Smritaha. Turyoho Vibhuhu Smritaha. So, you remember we unfolded this word Vibhuhu. And so, Vibhuhu here was, Swami Maheshananji had given such a beautiful explanation that it has Vivartha Upadana Karanam or Parinama Upadana Karanam. So, Vibhuhu means that one which is present in all of its manifestations. And so, but the manifestations are nothing but a copy. It's like a sun being reflected in lots of different bodies of water. And all of them differ from each other depending upon the quality of the water, the state of the water, but it is nothing but the sun itself. It may appear to be away from it, but it is not. And the being aware of it is just a way of expression. That the sun can also, you can imagine if the sun has some consciousness and it can see itself being reflected in thousands of little water ponds, it'll say, wow, they're all different from each other, but it's me alone. Sometimes I think about the beauty of light. Imagine Ishvara, Ishanaha, who is thinking about how to manufacture light, how to display light. What a beauty it is that you have rays of the sun that are separate from the sun. Right now, if you look at the sun rays and so on, it looks like its sun is over there, it's over here. And as soon as the sun sets, all these things disappear into the sun. My God, what a beautiful creation. How is it? It is just a lovely creation. And so, Vibhuhu Spritaha. So now you can see, really all the words have been explained. Nivrittehe sarva dukkhanam ishanaha prabhuhu avyayaha advaitaha sarva bhavanam. Advaitaha has not yet been fully explained. So, but here the Advaitaha means that the reflection of the sun in the water bodies don't make two suns or 1,000 suns. So the Advaitaha means that the original is only one, and that's the only one that counts. If you go to a mirror in a gym, and gyms are very clever. So what they do, any place where they want to make themselves appear bigger than they are, they put mirrors there, all over the place, all over the place. And I remember this one time I was in a restaurant, my wife and I were just sitting there, and this old man, and there were mirrors all over. And this old man, really old, that's why I remember this, he kept walking towards us. So we were saying, why is he coming towards us? What does he want? Because we don't know him. And he seemed very resolute, as though he's trying to come. He goes right into the mirror. Before we realized it, the fellow fell down. And, he might have been a little bit inebriated, had a couple of drinks or whatever. I have no idea whether he's diminished. But he just runs into the mirror, and he was so shocked. He thought there was more, some space there. And so really speaking, when you see images of yourself in a gym, thousands of them, you're bicycling, and you see all these, you're not multiple of you, there's only one of you. All the other copies have a different level of reality. So also Advaitaha, Dvaita Rahitaha. It's not like there are two of them. There's only a one. In fact, there is only one person. Only one person in the whole creation, which is Ishvaraha. Only one person. And you and I are at a different level of reality. We are like a reflection. And we take ourselves to be reflection. But in fact, you are nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is the very basis of Ishvara. So Ishvara Brahman is only one. That's the only one. And if we take ourselves to be different, that's our problem. That's the whole beauty of the creation. You need to resolve that apparent difference. That's the meaning of the word Advaitaha. So now I think all the words in this verse have been unfolded. Nivrittehe sarvadukhanam ishanaha prabhu avyayaha advaitaha sarvabhavanam devaha. So the devaha is Shivam. In the Shivam, Devam means self-existing, self-shining. Div, it comes from the dhatu div, means to shine. And not shine because of someone else, but self-shining. This is what I have to see, that really my nature is self-shining. And it is self-existing, self-aware. But in my erroneous way of looking at it, I think I'm just an individual, and I depend upon so many things. I'm not self-shining. I'm not self-existing. These are the things I have to resolve. So really speaking, Turiyaha, the fourth one, is really the basis of the whole creation. And I think that the word Ishanaha is something you should really think about. How it is Ishvaraha. And so we look upon Ishvara as something external to me. And if you want to continue to look at that, that's fine. But the real meaning of Ishvaraha or Ishanaha is through the word Samarthyam, through Anandaha, as the very content of yourself. So that's this important verse. Okay, let's go to number 11 now. And I think I'll not spend nearly as much time on, because they are really commentaries of 10. 10 is really I find to be very, very meaningful. All of them are meaningful, I don't mean to say. So here, number 11, Karya Karana Baddhau Tau Ishyete Vishwa Taijasau Pragyah Karana Baddhastu Dvau Tau Turyena Siddhyataha. So if you look at the Anvaya of the 11, Tau Vishwa Taijasau. So he says, those two, Tau means those two. Which ones? Vishwa and Taijasa. So, Vishwa is the waker. Our personality as a waker is called Vishwaha. And as we know, we've done this all before. And then Taijasaha is our personality as a dreamer. So we really have two roles that we are playing. Two roles in our playing. One is the waking role. And the waking role, the waking movie is pretty long. Has lots of plots to it, lots of stages to it, lots of interruptions to it, lots of changes of clothing. and in fact goes on beyond this life. There's the body's death doesn't mean anything. It just keeps on changing. Different acts of the play. And the only thing is that in a given life, you have relationships that encompass the entire age, 60, 80, 100 years or whatever. So there your father and mother are fixed. Your spouses may be fixed. Children are fixed. And, country is fixed, religion, all of those kinds of things. So much fixed. So this is the Vishwaha. Then Taijasaha is another movie. And this is a movie that you can just do it on your own. You become the producer and director. And it changes. But the common things of them are karya karana baddhau. Tau vishva taijasau karya karana baddhau ishyete. So let's see the English translation of that. Those two well-known Vishwa and Taijasaha are taken. So ishyete means literally calls desired. It's a good translation. So ishyete means is to be seen to be like this. This is the mean, that's how the appearance is. Ishyete. So those two are karya karana baddhau. So that means that the fundamental aspect of both the waking life and the dreaming life, and both are important. In fact, all of them are important in the sense, when I say both of them are important, what Vedanta asks us to do, it is not just focus on our waking life only. Why shouldn't we do that? Because what happens is, if we only focus on the waking life, which is really what 99% of the people do, including religions, they don't even think about dreams and stuff like this. No discussion of that. I don't know. I mean, I'm just not as though I'm a, expert in Christianity but this is what we are told, that none of the other schools of thought really looks at it as a balanced picture, because they look upon the waking state as the real one. This is the problem. And everything else, dream, that's not worth looking into, because that's just, you're dreaming. So you see, look at the problem. The problem is that if you look at the Jagrata Avastha as the real one, and based on that you think that the dream Avastha is unreal, you lose the opportunity to understand that even the Jagrata Avastha is unreal. Isn't it? Because your focus is that this is what I am. And so the only thing that you can think of is that this Jagrata Avastha may have a future which is maybe different. I may go to heaven. But the Jagrata Avastha, the waking state, is the basis of people's thinking. And Vedanta says this is not right. Give that up. And so both of them are equated. The Jagrata Avastha and the Swapna Avastha are both equated to be not really true. This is what is being pointed out here. So, Tau Vishwa Taijasau Karya Karana Baddhau. Karya Karana Baddhau means that they are tied together, controlled by cause and effect relationships. cause and effect relationships. And the cause is ajnanam, not knowing what is going on. And here one important thing to see is this word called ajnanam, which is called ignorance. Ignorance. So this should be understood as explained in the Shastra, that ajnanam or ignorance is not just the absence of jnanam. It's not the absence of anything. That's not the way it should be looked at. Even though the word itself, we don't know what else to use. When you say ignorance, that means, the word ignorance means lack of knowledge. That's what it means. And so you have to choose somewhat of a word, and in Sanskritam it is ajnanam. So we just add a to jnanam, prefix. So it's very possible that you can have different meaning of the word means that it can be absence. Here, it is not just the absence. So the Maya Shakti is a very positive Shakti. This will be explained here. In fact, we can do it right now. So what happens is that ignorance is not just the absence of things. How can we say that? Because it has multiple personalities. When you have multiple, absence cannot have multiple personalities. This is an important thing to see. Means that it is not there. When you say not there, it is not there. There's no multiple personalities. But here, ignorance here means it has multiple personalities. What multiple personalities? It has both the ability to hide. This is one personality. And the ability to make a positive mistake is another personality. So this is the avaranam and vikshepa. So the avaranam is hiding, and vikshepa is a false projection. So in the example of the rope and snake, for example, the reason that you mistake a rope for a snake is because you don't see the rope very well. So there is avarana. And because of that, you have certain projections that you take on. And in fact, this is the this is what is called karana and karya. So karana and karya baddhau means they are controlled by karana. What is the karana here? So the karana is not knowing the reality of things. And it is manifested in vasana. Vasana is the karya of karana. What is vasana? Well, it's interesting if you look at, if you're from the Chinmaya mission background, which I started with. So if you remember, there is a 9-segment chart that Swami Chinmayanand did. BMI. Does anybody aware of that?
Yeah.
So BMI, then OET, no, PFT and OET. Okay, so those are the body, mind, intellect, etc. So these are the 9 things. Then, this is very interesting, there is above that, I think it was a V called Vasana. And he paid so much attention to that. And I'm not sure that I completely understood it when I was studying with him. It came much later on, but now I can see. So this Vasana is a very interesting thing. What it means is that you and I are where we are because of the previous background. Everyone is properly placed based on the previous karma. And the karmas leave vasanas. Vasanas means that, Swami Chinmanand used to explain that for example, when you are cutting onions or garlic, I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons that all these people never used to, Swamis, they never used to touch, they don't eat onions and garlic. Maybe it is because of that. But onions and garlic, no, there are more reasons than that. Because they're rajasic food. The onions and garlic are rajasic food. And they want to be more sattvic. So that's the main reason. But anyway, one of the reasons is that if you cut onions and garlic, and after that you wash your hand, the remainder of the onions and garlic are still there. This is called vasana. So that means your old karmas have already been finished, but they leave some impressions in your life which govern your next actions, next step. So the entire prarabdha karma is really full of vasanas. That means that your tendencies, how you behave, what next steps you're going to take, you don't have the complete freedom. You don't have the freedom. That is what is called baddhau. See, now you understand. The baddhau means you are really controlled as though by your previous karma. You can slowly change it. So now this phenomena of being under the control of vasanas, which is also karya karana. So they are both karya karana, both the effect as well as the cause, both of them. That doesn't mean that you cannot get out of it, because it is a kind of like a fatalistic picture, isn't it? That you are completely under the control. I am whatever my background is, I cannot change it. And it is true that you cannot change it drastically within Jagrat and Swapnavastha, within Taijasaha and Vishwaha. It is true. It is true. Because they are karya karana baddhau. And before we say that you can break it, let's go to the next one, which is pragyaha. Pragyaha tu karana baddhau. So here it is not karya baddhau, only karana baddhau. Means controlled only by cause, not by the effect. What does it mean? It means that in deep sleep, because pragyaha is your personality. It's the third movie that you're playing. Your life is engaged in. You have 3 movies. If you are Amitabh Bachchan and you want to make a lot of money, you are starring in 3 movies. Not starring, you are actually learning. You are building 3 movies at the same time. Morning until 8 o'clock, until 12 is one. Then you take lunch, and then you go to a different movie altogether. This is what they do. They say, Or sometimes they play 1 week, then they change their thing and go to the second movie. Unbelievable how they do that. And this goes on for a year. So all 3 movies go on for a year. This is our situation. We are engaged in 3 movies. One is Jagrat Avastha, one is Swapna Avastha, the third one is the Pragya. In the Pragya, I am only Karana Baddha, not Karya Baddha. So what it means is only Avarana, the hiding of myself, is the only things that's present. So that's another, look at the interesting thing. When you say ignorance, and we said that ignorance is not the absence of things only, in fact it has 2 aspects. And so one aspect is avarana and the other aspect is vikshepa. So in Jagrat Avastha and in Swapna Avastha, both of them are present. That's what is called Karana Karya Baddha Tau. Pragyaha tu, however, so tu here means however. It's a delimiter. Karana Baddha means that in the deep sleep I have no projection. But the reason that I am where I am is because I don't know. I don't know. And in fact, it's interesting. It's also an important thing to see. And really, this was made very clear by Swami Maheshananji. I have not seen that kind of clarity. And that is that all 3 of stages, all 3 movies are characterized by I don't know. In fact, the I don't know is the body, is the material cause of my life. Important thing to see. Let's just spend a minute or so on doing this. So, as you know, there are 2 causes of the creation. So one is the intelligent cause, the awareness. The other one is the material. Whenever something is built, you need to have someone that has the awareness of here's what I'm doing. I want to build something. And now you get the material for it. So the material for your life is I don't know. And the intelligent cause is I know. This is an important thing to dwell on. It's very, very subtle, but you have to really think about this. So let's stay with it for a second. So really speaking, if you look at yourself, you are both the intelligent cause as well as the material cause. Both of them, all in the same. They're not different. Not like building a pot, a clay pot, where the clay pot is different from the potter. We are like the spider, where the material and the intelligence all is contained in the same one, as we have known. So here, the 2 aspects are that I know, that is the intelligent cause. And when I say I don't know, that is the material. So here's the insight that I got from Swami Maheshananji's teachings. First time that was clear to me. What he's saying is that I don't know is very obvious in deep sleep, isn't it? Well, you know that because the deep sleep is characterized by saying, you know, when you wake up from it. So pragya actually is, you know, when you are just and identified with someone and you say, where were you? What did you know? He said, I don't know anything. What did you see? Nothing. So it is obvious that the deep sleep is characterized by I don't know. Swami Maheshananji said that even the other two, namely the Jagrata Avastha and Swapna Avastha, is also overall I don't know. How can we say that? Because in my waking state, I know a lot of things. I know who I am. I know who my spouse is, my children. I know. Ultimately, though, this is what is called, remember the discussion we had about vyavastha when we were doing earlier on, the vyavastha. Is it the same thing? Vyavastha means that you can figure it out exactly, but you can't. You cannot. This is why the scientists, this is a laughing stock of Vedantins. Scientists are the laughing stock. They are all very busy. They are all busy. We're going to find out everything. And you know it's okay to find out things that are limited. It's actually very good. Just yesterday, I read that the Japanese people have come out with a pill that cures flu in 1 day. Have you heard of that? This is just news that came out, and there are really remarkable progress in capturing lots of diseases, cancer, and so on. It's amazing. So they are feeling that we can now do a lot and so on. But ultimately, you cannot figure it out because there's always something. Because this is the thing, if you keep on researching in a given area, you come to a point and you say, this we don't know. So the revelations of truth are partial only. Eventually, you have to give up and say, I don't know. So now I can say this, that all three stages, all three movies, all three experiences are characterized by I don't know. So in the case of Jagrata Avastha and Swapna Avastha, you can say accurately, I don't know exactly. Some things I know, what cancer is and what common cold is and so on. Some things we are getting to it. But overall, how it happens, we'd have no idea. So Maheshananji gave this his beautiful example. He says, you know, there was a very, very good Ayurvedic doctor in the town. And I had the same experience. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was a well-known homeopathic doctor in Amritsar. And he used to have a separate room for a clinic, I remember, and people would come and so on and so forth. And I was his grandson, and I was the sickest kid in the whole year. I had so much asthma. I mean, I've suffered from asthma so much. I cannot believe it. Could hardly breathe. There was no all these, sprays, etc. But nothing was there at all. nearly died many times. And the poor guy, I remember, he was so frustrated, he could not figure out how to make me well. He says patients will come and so on and so forth, he could get them. So he also said, I don't know. Swami Maheswaranji gave the same example. He said there was a very famous Ayurvedic doctor. And he knew exactly. He says half the time his things did not work. He had no idea. So the whole thing is enveloped in I don't know. But in the case of pragya, it is only karanabaddha. In the case of Jagrat and the Swapnavastha, both karana and karyabaddha. Then the verse concludes, Tau turyena siddhyataha. Tau turyena siddhyataha. What is tau na siddhyataha? What does not apply to turya? Karana karya bandhanam. Karya karana bandhanam does not apply to turya. There is no constriction, there is no I don't know, there is no vasanas, there is no inevitability, it is not inevitable, it is in fact complete freedom. So from the standpoint of how the three, it is kind of like, in one way, just that vision came. It's like three movies are projected on a screen. And the movies have a plot. And the plot is karana karana. There's some good things going on, there's some villain, and there's crying, and so on and so forth. Then the one movie stops, another movie is projected. The screen has no limitation. It is independent of the movies. So similarly, Turiya is the screen. I am the screen. I don't realize this, that I am the screen. That is fundamentally independent of projections upon me. It looks like, but in my ignorance, I think that I am connected to the projections. It's like a screen that has all these images being put on it, and somehow it just feels that I am also, these are good, that's a good image, that's a bad image. And in fact, in Vedanta it says that one has to understand that both Ravana and Rama are really the same thing fundamentally. They have some roles to play. One is a bad guy, one is a good guy, and all that kind of a thing. But both of them fundamentally are the same. Independent of personalities, they're the same person. Anyway, so this we will go into a little bit more detail, but let's postpone it to next week. And so now with that, the verse number 11 will also finish. Om swasti prajabhyav paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samastha sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshobarahitaha brahmana santu nirbhayaha sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkhavaag bhavet, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yeah.
You're explaining Ananda, from the experience Ananda is Rama.
Correct.
That Krishna is the attraction. Can you explain that again?
So yes, those means that Rama and Krishna are really our own reality. And we should focus on those two aspects of our reality because what I am reveling with in my life unknowingly is the search for Ananda, search for Rama. And what attracts me is Ananda and peace, which is Krishna. So that is the Krishna means, Karshati means the one that attracts, one. And so Krishna and Rama are both my innate nature, but I don't know it. And so from a standpoint of prayer, you can, instead of looking at it as an external entity, one should pray that may the two of you dwell in my heart. May I, and the dwelling in the heart means to make sure that I recognize you. You are already me, but I don't see you. I reject you, as though you are not with me, you are somewhere else. So that's the attitude of the reverence towards these two avatars of Ishvara that one should have. Something like that. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Is that
Very similar. Yes, yes, absolutely. Very similar. Exactly the same thing. Prakriti-sthani karshati. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I just had an observation. I don't know if it's useful to everybody, but I've been looking at the field of math, psychology, and even Western philosophy and quantum physics, and the terms that they are using. It looks like it's coming out of Vedanta now. They use the word appearance of creation. The unified field theory talks about some of these things. I don't understand them all, but it's just amazing how the terms that are being used in Vedanta and some of these things that we're learning here are now being reflected in very modern studies.
Yes. So we are aware of that, and I think it's good that. But it's very interesting that even the very renowned scientists like Einstein and others who were very sharp people and really had a lot of insight, something held them away from understanding Vedanta. And a lot of that, I think, is because of the fact that you have to give up your ego and just let go. And there's something there that withholds the Western philosophers from really understanding the truth. We don't know what it is. One can postulate that. So even though it comes very close to it, part of that is, I think, when I say ego, part of that is that I am discovering something that is not already known. Unified theories and appearances, the string theory and so on and so forth, is all due to the fact that this has not been known by anyone. They might say that the Hindus have some insight into it and so on, but then if they have the insight into it, then why don't you understand that insight? No, but I'm on my own. See, this is the problem. The problem.
I agree, but I think what I find is that even the well-renowned physicists or maths, or whichever framework you look at, they start going along the path, and they're completely insulted and ostracized by the orthodoxy that is holding.
Yeah, of course, yes.
So you look at mathematicians like Hofstadter, he
Correct.
And he talks about all this, and then he's completely ostracized. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
The author can't be true.
Yeah. That's those kinds of phenomena are there, all that. But what I'm saying is that even such people who are otherwise much more advanced in their thinking do not accept the fact that a complete explanation of the whole world, nothing is left out, is already available. And it is understandable because they have a feeling that I'm doing something unique. And that holds them from truth. This is the issue. But yeah, relative to the orthodox people and so on, they are already much more advanced. And I must say that more and more Westerners, even forget about Westerners, even among the non-Vedantins in India also, it is a question of relative, it's vasanas. One thing or the other slowly leads them to the truth. It doesn't happen in this life, maybe in the next life. So that will happen, yeah. Yes?
You said that about agyan, projection, and
Yeah.
power, and it is present and we are involved with it. And then they say that Satyam Jnanam Anantam is Brahma, but everything is in Brahma also, so Agyan is also in Brahman?
In Brahman, yes. Yes, so yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, this, I will remember your question because this is part of the explanation on Tau Turyena Siddhyataha. The last portion which I said that I have not completely finished doing that. So if you could, I won't forget your question, but please hold on an answer to that when the explanation of that is given.
One more question.
Yeah.
Is the Srishti because of Agyan in Brahma?
Yes, you can say that the appearance of the creation can only be done, the creation can be done through an appearance where the Ajnanam is an integral part of the, yes, I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. Yeah.
We have said before that deep sleep is a glimpse of the bliss.
Correct.
Now, in the deep sleep, today we said that it is conditioned by the cause, that means impression of the vasana.
Right.
So, does it mean that you could have the vasana, if you don't react to it, it will not get the life, it won't get energized?
So that's a good question, yeah. So the glimpse of the bliss in the deep sleep is only a glimpse. It is very close to, in fact, this will come up in the next 2 or 3 verses of the Karika. This is exactly the same point. This is what Gaudapada is going to reveal and discuss, rather, not reveal, but to discuss. And so the deep sleep is only a glimpse in the sense that you don't have any dukkha, you don't have any problems, but the positive joy is withheld. Even the absence of dukkha is very pleasant, it's very nice. But the feeling that I am the whole, I am the very source of the whole creation, this is not an ordinary thing. And so the joy resulting from that is not quite the same as it is in the deep sleep. So that's why there is perhaps a film of some kind that divides the positive joy. But it's very close to it. There's nothing like in your Jagrat Avastha that will come close to the understanding of the not the understanding, but the experience of it. I think we should just, okay, all right.
Sir, so in moksha, it is due to jnana.
Yes.
Is the jnana still there?
So jnana is there, but only as a non-entity, not just like saying that suppose you, right now, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you, supposing, I'm just postulating this, supposing you are highly drunk and you don't know who you are or anything, and you are appalled at your appearance in the mirror, and then suppose the effect of the drink has worn off and you understand that, oh my goodness, what a foolish person I was, that I was looking at my reflection as myself. I am different from the reflection. So in that case, you are still looking at the reflection, which is ignorance, but you're not treating the ignorance as reality. So you've completely changed the reality of ignorance.
So the Maya has left you?
Again, the same thing. Nothing has left you. Nothing leaves you. This is the problem we have, is that we want the whole thing to disappear. It cannot disappear. But to see that it doesn't make any difference to me because I have discovered a reality which is much beyond of that. So that's what happens to a moksha. Okay.